Fans of Warhammer 40,000, being able to get hold of an Indomitus box set for 9th edition, and having channeled leakycheese make a video, a second video, to replace a video he was going to make because of an announcement late in the day. Thank you very much for joining me for an update video on the Indomitus Kerfuffle, and I noticed and appreciated the comments in my previous video approving of the use of the term kerfuffle. So I shall try say kerfuffle as many times as possible during the course of this video. So, newsflash headlines. You will have heard this already, but I'm going to tell you because I'm going to talk about it and give you a few of my, hopefully, sagely observations. Games Workshop has clearly heard and probably been able to warm their feet and hands on the internet bonfire that has been raging over the last few days. And they've decided to, for a limited time only, we don't know how long, make the Indomitus box set available as a made-to-order product on the Games Workshop website. So the conditions are 1 order per customer. Delivery time is going to be fulfilled within 120 days maximum, and you are allowed to place 1 order per customer, which I think I said already. Yes, I know the point I was going to make. We don't know how long this offer is going to be up for, so my recommendation is, if you want one of these, is not to dally and to order. I don't know what the situation is with independents, if they can order more, so I would speak to your independent as soon as possible to see if they can fulfill you, if that is your choice of purchase route. So this is great news, I think, and in one fell swoop, Games Workshop has scalped the Scalpers. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with scalper order fulfillment. Will these people ditch their orders now it's apparent that they won't be able to, in effect, realise on their investment? If that happens, what will then happen to the remaining boxes that are in effect from the original availability pool that have now been freed up? Perhaps Games Workshop will send that to their own stores. Perhaps they may send it to independent stores or some mixture thereof. So that's going to be interesting to hear as to see what happens with that. A happy ending there. And yeah, I think this is good news. It was interesting listening to all your comments on my previous video that I published about this yesterday. Obviously, it's quite an emotive subject, and that was apparent. I'd like to thank everyone for getting involved, the considered opinions, and in particular, I was surprised by how many people said, Leaky, thank you ever so much for making this video. It's so good to hear a voice of reason at the moment. And I really do appreciate you saying that. And that is what I try to do here. I'm not about trying to make clickbait, have a chat about making people angry. I'm trying to get to the truth of what's going on and think, what's that about? And at the end of the day, it's good to just relax and chill a bit. So this is only going to be a short video, but it is interesting what happened, and I suppose we could take a retrospective view as to say, well, why didn't Games Workshop do this in the first place? I really don't know. I'm not really sure. I think if I were to apply Hanlon's razor, and which is simply a case of do not attribute to malice that which can be explained through stupidity. Well, I'm not saying it was Games Workshop was necessarily being stupid here, but I am saying I don't think they would be malicious. I think when you look at the sequence of events that led up to this and the just general madness that is 2020 and the situation with the coronavirus pandemic, I think they probably tried to do their best and walked into a situation that then blew up in their faces. And I think it's great that they've taken a step to keep as many customers happy as possible and give people what they want. We've got to give them credit for that. So good show, GW. I do wonder if they were quite canny as well, because having had the whole kerfuffle over the weekend and all the ordering data that will flow into their website, that's valuable commercial information as to what to do next with this product. I've heard a couple of rumours that in that weekend alone, they sold more Indomitus box sets than the 8th edition Dark Imperium did in its entire 2.5 going on 3-year run. Now, to me, that sounds astonishing because I know that the sales on Dark Imperium were extremely strong. I heard they made their money back on all the investment in the first weekend of sales. So I don't know if in the space of 24 hours, if they could have outsold 3 years. I'm not saying it isn't true, the rumour, but it really pushes at the limits of plausibility in my mind. But I don't know. Maybe it has happened. If it has happened, then, well, perhaps this year isn't going to be so bad for Games Workshop after all. All that information I've gathered through the website may well have furnished Games Workshop with the information they needed to be able to say, you know what, This has gone so well, we can do another production run. There's easily enough demand to justify all the cost of doing this again. And we've seen that happen with, the best example I would give of that is the Adeptus Titanicus Grandmaster Edition, which completely sold out, and they then went back and made another batch, which was then made available. So it is akin to that. And I think that was born out of the fact that it was a new game and they didn't know how well it was going to do, so they made a certain quantity. When they saw the demand, they said, let's feed that demand. The good thing to come out of this weekend's kerfuffle for people who want one of these is the obvious demand has meant that Games Workshop has given you a facility, or given those who didn't get one first time round the facility to order one now. A ray of sunshine, I would like to say. So yeah, as it's quite late now and I've got to edit this and get it posted for tomorrow morning, I am going to draw a close to this, and I will thank you for all your pleasant and thought-provoking comments on the previous video. It was interesting to hear those. And once again, I would encourage you to share your thoughts and observations in this video. I have to admit, all those people are having a pop at Games Workshop. It's difficult to remain poppy on this after all what's happened. And, remember Hanlon's razor. Sometimes events happen that aren't the consequence of a greedy, money-grabbing corporation, but actually just the coincidental outcome of a series of unexpected events. Please do let me know. But other than that, I'd just like to say thank you very much for watching. I'll speak to you next time, and goodbye.